Going on, dudes and dudettes? So yeah, it looked like the other day Team USA did beat Canada 86-72, something like that. They looked a little bit rusty. They were down by like double digits in the first and second quarters, it seemed like, but they were able to pull away eventually. It kind of seemed like the game was a bit more important to Canada, as it usually is when it comes to other teams, but when it comes to the amount of stars on other teams, it looks like Canada seems to be the one that can at least challenge the U.S. when it comes to most known people, but I guess they're not just as great as a collective altogether playing the game, because USA still won even though they weren't at their best, in my opinion. But we'll see what they do in their next game. I forget who they play. It might be Australia, maybe in the next couple of days, so hopefully update you on that victory. But yeah, Anthony Davis looked great. It just sucks. Hopefully they don't outplay him too much so he doesn't run out of gas by the time the NBA season comes around. But LeBron still looks pretty good out there. It doesn't look like he's taxing himself too much, but overall it was a nice victory, in my opinion, for Team USA. And then the ESPYs were on today. I did not watch it, but I did see due to social media that Juju Watkins, the star women's basketball player for USC, did win the ESPY award for Breakout Athlete of the Year, which included both men and women in all sports, which is pretty cool for her, because you would have thought that it would have went to that Victor Wembanyama guy with the San Antonio Spurs who got selected number 1 overall, and it's just like a freak on the basketball court. But luckily they gave it to her, because she definitely deserved it, played very well, and took her team a lot farther than he did playoff and all that championship-wise. So congrats to her. And there's this 4-star wide receiver, Tanu Hines, who I think I might have talked about him when he released USC as one of his top 6 schools a couple months ago. But it looks like within the past couple of days that a lot of predictions and crystal balls, as they call it, have been going towards USC's way in his recruitment, which he's actually going to be committing, I believe it's July 15th, so what is that, Monday? I don't think it's Sunday. It could be Sunday or Monday, whatever. I know he was supposed to do it this last Sunday because I think he had to cancel it due to the weather out there in the South, which sucked. But hopefully everything goes good, and he is picking USC so they get another talented guy, especially stealing him away from the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. That's always good, in my opinion. There's also this 4-star wide receiver, Dalen McCutcheon, who I believe is going to be committing this Saturday, the 12th or 13th, whichever date this Saturday is. But yeah, it looks like a couple of predictions have been going USC's way as well for him. I know they missed out on a couple of guys recently, but like I always say, there's very talented receivers out there all over the place, so it doesn't matter as long as they get a couple of 4 stars and higher, then I don't think it really matters, in my opinion. So hoping to get a commitment from him. And there was that 5-star safety, Trey McNutt. I believe he is going to be committing around July 19th, coming up sometime next week. But it seemed like there were predictions from him selecting Oregon. I was kind of surprised because they also put in some predictions that other safety that USC was trying to get, Jonah Williams, he was predicted to go to Oregon. So Oregon's definitely opened up the checkbooks and trying to get everybody from the 2025 class coming up. But I don't know, 2 5-star guys at the same position, unless they convince Jonah to play that linebacker position that a lot of people thought he could play as well, even they thought at USC too. But either way, there is some minor hope, I guess. And then there is that I think he's a pretty high 4-star edge from Alabama, the guy Jared Smith. I think he's going to be committing pretty soon as well. I think it's going to be August 3rd. So one of the first August guys committing around then. I did hear some predictions of him going to maybe Auburn, or that Auburn is trying to do a big push for him. Obviously, it's easier for them because they're in the same state in Alabama, but hopefully USC did enough of a good impression on him that he picks them August 3rd. And of course, a week after I made that Lakers mock trades, that I did not include Wendell Carter Jr. because I said it was kind of like a dream scenario trade that people were conjuring up. I guess it looks like the Lakers are showing more public interest in him this week, and it's just funny to me that they're all of a sudden now showing. I mean, Wendell Carter, yeah, that year in that draft they weren't going to be able to get him, the power forward out of Duke, but it's just funny how they're linked to a bunch of Duke guys right now, but I guess I'm not surprised because of J.J. Redick. Maybe he's kind of pushing some of those Duke buttons, but they still have interest in Gary Trent Jr., Tyus Jones, even Luke Kennard as well. So yeah, I'm not mad at all, but yeah, it's just finally time to get some more Duke guys. Hopefully they bring a couple of USC guys too. You never know, but yeah, definitely some fun stuff happening if the Lakers can get some of those trades done officially. And then when it comes to Lincoln Riley, yeah, I think he was named like one of 21 coaches that were named to like a preseason coaching watch list thing that's called like the Dodd Trophy. So yeah, that's some pretty good momentum for him to see what he can do his first time and USC's first time in the Big Ten. So looking forward to that. But then also Paul Feinbaum of ESPN, even though he kind of does like more controversial stuff with the SEC and his show is pretty much based around that conference. But for some reason, Lincoln Riley has been coming out here and there from his mouth, and he even said that he believes that it's going to be a crash and burn type of season for Lincoln Riley and USC this year, and it's going to end up with him moving on to somewhere else. I'm assuming he's talking about the NFL, because I would think that's the only reason why he would want to leave USC at this moment. I know he's always talked about being at USC for the long haul as of right now, but it's kind of like a lateral move. If you just go to another team, unless it was that Alabama job, then I guess that would have been better last offseason, but he didn't even go after or get interviewed, I don't think. But yeah, I could only see him being lost to the NFL because of maybe the Dallas Cowgirls finally put up enough money for him to not say no, because I know they've shown more interest in him, or maybe he decides to join up with Caleb Williams in Chicago and see what type of magic they still have left together. That could be another interesting scenario, but hoping not, because I do not want to see USC go through another coaching change. But if it has to happen, then I guess it has to happen. And then ex-Duke player Jason Tatum, new NBA champion Jason Tatum, was one of the couple of athletes that were announced for NBA 2K25, which is pretty cool. It's always a big honor to be one of the athletes on that video game cover. I don't think it has a Madden curse like Madden used to. I don't even think the Madden curse kind of exists. I know some people used to get injured that season following after they were on that cover, or they got injured, or their stats weren't that good the next season, so you learn to not draft them or whatever if they made the cover. So we'll see what happens with Christian McCaffrey of the 49ers coming up this season. But yeah, a great honor for him. I think he's sharing it with one of the better players in the WNBA right now, and Asia Wilson from the Aces. I think she's a two-time champion as well. I could be wrong, but yeah, one of the more recent WNBA champions as well, sharing the cover with him on NBA 2K25. And according to some reports and rankings coming out of 247 Sports, it looks like the USC commit Julian Lewis has been falling down, and not in a good way, with their rankings as a quarterback and maybe overall as well. I know they had already considered him like maybe not even a top 5 quarterback, even though when he had reclassified to the class, he was like ranked like the 4th best, even though he was ranked the first quarterback in his 2026 class and maybe top 5, if not the top player overall, and yet he still was considered to these guys not as good. I don't know if they're considering the fact that he should be going into his junior year instead of a senior year right now, and still basically a year underdeveloped with a lot of the guys that he's in the class right now. Something like that, even though he has good enough size. He's about the size of like a Caleb Williams, maybe not as thick, but still like height-wise and everything like that. It's not like too horrible, but I don't know, maybe him or his family made some enemies out there in 247 and they're pushing him down the rankings, but I don't know. We'll see where he ends up after this season and all those stats that come in. and I believe he's like the number 27 overall player in the class of 2025. And his name is Kian Anthony. He is the son of pretty soon to be Hall of Famer Carmelo Anthony, who was once an ex-Laker too. Congratulations. But yeah, I guess he looks like he's going to be planning a visit to USC at some point pretty soon, so that's going to be pretty cool. I'm pretty sure he's lived in LA for quite a bit of his life, even before Carmelo started playing on the Lakers for a bit. But yeah, that'll be a pretty big get. Another ex-future Hall of Famer's son to play for USC. That's going to be some pretty cool bragging rights, in my opinion. House of Victory had a couple of signings this last week. I believe they signed that newer transfer from Wyoming, Gavin Meyer, the defensive lineman. They also signed the other transfer guard and Bryce Pope on the basketball side. And they also signed the transfer wide receiver Kyle Ford, who is transferring to the correct LA school instead of being at UCLA for one season. So he said it was his bad. He's making up for it. So I do not mind him at all signing with House of Victory and, doing some good stuff. And according to the NBA, not this season coming up, but the following season, 2025 and 2026, it looks like they're going to try at some point during that season to have a basketball game televised every day of the week, so 7 days a week. But I guess contractually and some other stuff, they can only do it once the NFL season is concluded. So I'm assuming that doesn't bother into the playoffs, so maybe they could start right after that week 17 or 18 game compared to waiting until after the Super Bowl. But either way, 7 games, that's pretty crazy throughout the whole entire week. But and actually it might be more. It's going to be 7 days, but there's some days that have 2 networks on here. So on Monday, it looks like it's going to be Peacock, then Tuesday, NBC, Wednesday, ESPN, Thursday, Amazon. I'll get into them for Thursday especially. Friday, it's ESPN/Amazon. Saturday, ESPN/Amazon again. And then Sunday is NBC/ESPN. So, yeah, as of that listing, it looks like maybe ESPN put up the most money because they have at least 4 games or 4 times that they're on that schedule is what it looks like. Because I'm thinking the ESPN/Amazon, whatever that day, I think there's going to be a game on ESPN and then a game on Amazon, something like that. Because ESPN would do sometimes, on Fridays, they would have 2 games showing like that. So I guess they had to split it up or something. But I think, the other 2, Amazon and NBC, it looked like they're sharing 3 days or 3 games during the week. So, yeah, either way, I guess ESPN has the most money. And then Amazon is taking over that Thursday spot, which was usually reserved for inside the NBA with Charles Barkley, Shaq, Ernie, and Kenny. So I guess officially this might be this next season their last one, their last hurrah, which definitely sucks because you kind of wish that TNT was able to still get in negotiations and try to at least talk them into giving them at least one, maybe that full day on Thursday. But it looks like maybe Amazon put up a little bit more money to take over their slot. And I guess that's just how it is. And now you're going to have to make sure you have certain streaming services to make sure you watch some of these games if you're going to be interested in that game or not. And I guess it's good for NBA aholics, but I don't know. Sometimes there's some games that they promote where it's kind of just whatever. I wouldn't even bother watching. And then living in the LA market out here, you have to get Spectrum and have a certain, Spectrum channel just to even watch most Laker games. Because even if it was on ESPN, because you're in the LA market, they would still block it out. So you still need that Spectrum Sportsnet channel, which is ridiculous. Obviously, I don't know if that works for other places out there. If your main team was playing on an ESPN or ABC for a big game, and then you have to have that thing. I think if it's the ABC, they have to show it, but definitely if it's on ESPN or even TNT, they would still show it. But ESPN, they're a bunch of a-holes. But either way, I guess that's just the new NBA we'll have to deal with, and hopefully it works out. But yeah, still very sad that it's going to be the last Inside the NBA season, and definitely going to be watching every single episode every single Thursday because it's the last one we're going to get, and hopefully they make it as big and funny as they ever have. So thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe. Comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.